All right, I don't have a helper today for the rest of this decking here, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm tired of looking at this thing with the sheeting on the walls not done, so I'm gonna warm up by thrashing through some of this pickup work. I got trimmers, I got bearing points, I've got a few studs in this wall to put in. I had kind of left them out for access through there. Now I don't need that as much. So I'm gonna deal with that and just try to do all the little stuff, and then I'm gonna finish studding these walls in and sheet them. I can still use the crane over here for this bigger top sheet, but now I have the rest of the 10 footers I need to sheet through here, so the rest of these studs will double on through there because I have, let's see, I got the rest of the material kind of out there, so I'll pull that apart, get that in here, get that cut up. Yeah, just kind of try to film what I can of it. And then if there is any time at the end of the day, I will figure out what I got to do for the scaffolding right here. I mean, there's a chance, I know if I spin the crane I'll get by it, but there's a chance I could do it without it, but it's sure a lot easier to have it there. Even though I didn't use it much, it's good to have it as a base to work from, working my way up there. That kind of sucks. It's just awkward. The system we worked out to do it, which was put the brakes, the small brakes on from the low side and then feed them down from the top, worked pretty good. It's just hard to film and hard to do. It's hard to crawl around on that. Anyway, not your problem. That's all set up. Somehow I inch and a half myself when I was laying out those doors because of the double bottom plate. I don't know if I went the wrong way twice or something, but I'm gonna move it up real quick. The safety PSA of the day is in the wintertime, wherever you're at, most of the colder climate guys probably know this, but don't sweep stuff out the door and leave it there. Or you brush it off to the side, or just put it in a can right away. But if you leave bits of nails and wood there and it freezes, the chance of stepping on one's pretty high. Even though you might take them out of all your boards all the time and never leave them sticking up. That's a good one, because I've seen it get a guy and it wasn't pretty. We had to use pliers to pull it out. It was in there. I would probably try to get away with leaving this stud out because there's only like a little gap there. That king stud sort of splits the bay, but I actually got a piece of plywood breaking on it, so I'll have to put it in. Get the extension ladder over there and nail the top of that, but that's those studs. All right, I think I'll finish studding in this side before I start sheeting because I got the wood on the forks and I need the plywood behind it, so I'll finish with it and then get to sheeting. Cut that around the door. Let me see. It might be easier than routing it. All right, that's caught up. We will go start on the lowers on the other side over there. Okay, I've got everything kind of cleaned up and organized around here. Well, the last strap is on up there. That's all sheeted. I gotta close up this end here today, but I have a few boards that are unrouted that I set aside because I thought I might have too much. And it looks like I'll probably have just enough. So I gotta route these, looks like 20 boards or so. My helper is gonna show up in a little bit. we'll figure out our brakes and start back in on it. At least the goal would be to run out of material. If that's what's going to happen, then I'll know how much I have to pick up, and I can leave a little early and run back to town this afternoon to make it to the lumberyard before they close. Quick explanation. I've got to plank this side, so I really can't easily go higher than the door. I can just stuff something out like that right there to land that on, and then once that's there, I'll build the other side to it, and I can set it down. This is as far out as I need to swing the crane for a little bit, because I can pick up these boards, because if I go further and the plank is lower, the counterweights will go into the plank. I don't want that, but this will let me go all the way around and land material on the top if I need to, so I'll work on that. All right, got the scaffold set up over here, got my helpers here, cutting boards, and I am just getting ready to go up. I gotta set my ladder up in a little different spot, I think, and then get my baseboard on. I'm gonna grab a different camera rig to try to shoot some of this. All right, minor timeout there. I had a driver and my gun broke, and I thought the owner's on his way down. I was going to have him stop by my place and grab one of the broken guns out of a bin there in my shed. And then we looked in his shed, and he had the same gun, so I just swapped over the air fitting, so I'll use that until I can get mine fixed. So that'll work out. Tiny little bit of overhang. I had some fat boards there, so I got to trim the bottom part of that. But that came out pretty even when I closed in this side. So on the menu for the day, I have a little bit of blocking and strapping to do at the back of the house. But again, I'm going to wait till a little later. I'll cut and prep everything. And then I'm going to go up top and finish trimming the roof up at that ridge up there. Clean off the backside, throw all the scrap down, and I'm going to clean all these little toe boards off of here as well. On my way down, I'll probably measure the roof. I like to, if it's an odd size, I like to start with the rip at the bottom, so I don't have to either A, rip the top, or I can just finish with full sheets anyway. So it might be like a foot or something down here, and that'd be fine. I'm not going to put it on until I get a dry day to where I can put the plywood on and then cover it right away with the peel and stick. So I'm just going to prep everything today. I'll leave this lower toe board on here until the day. Well, I'll leave that there while I sheet, and then while I put the membrane on. So that's what we're going to do. I don't know, you know, I could pull all the nails out of those little boards and maybe use them for something else, but I'll probably just bend them all over and do something with them that way. I don't know, probably burn them, or I may pull them out. I don't know right now. We'll see. It's about 13 and a half, but we'll go 13 so we don't have to try to tuck it up under there when we drop the full sheet at the top. So I'm not going to do anything with the sheets now, but I've measured the roof. It's 25 foot, 1.5 tucked up underneath that lip. The lip is offset because there's more insulation on the back than the front, because the only area that is truly important that we insulate is below this side. That side we're just trying to keep neutral, so we'll do 1 layer of 1.5 inches there, plus all the solid wood will end up R12 or R13, something like that. This side is getting 3 inches of polyiso, so it's up in the 20s at that point. So we are 25 foot 1.5. I'll just plan on it being 25 foot 1. So when I make my rips on the table saw down below, I will end up starting out down here with a 13-inch rip. I'll snap a line, put that on, and then I can replace the toe board directly over that. So I have a great place to start with that. And it gives me a great way to start the first course of peel and stick, because I can actually leave that toe board on if I put it low enough for now, because you don't strip the bottom half of the peel and stick until you're ready to put your drip edge on, and I'm not. So you know, actually I could peel both, because it's a second, we're getting buried with insulation. I'll have to think about that. I probably could put that on. Anyway, so I'll put that first little rip on down there, because then a full sheet after that. So then subsequent courses, like the next layer, which is polyiso, then won't line up with the plywood. So it's a good way to start and get all the work out of the way at the bottom. All right, enough talking. Clean up. Sheesh, that was a pain in the ass. I still gotta go up there and trim that, but I think I'll have a cup of coffee first. That's done, moving on. All right, those straps are done. I'm not gonna there's no insulation on this eyebrow or the side brows there. I'm not gonna, that just gets plywood and a regular roofing underlayment. Nothing special, but I'm not gonna put that on until I'm dry up above. Just don't want water running down the wall behind and under that, but I wanted to kind of come over here and show this shot in the daylight. That's kind of what it looks like. It's 40 feet wide. These sheets are 10 footers, so it's 20 foot to the windowsill or so, plus another 5 and change to the roof. I guess it's 40 foot square is what it is, but anyway, a couple more things to do here, and then that's it for till we start on the rest of the roof. All right. Okay, brisk morning down here. Building is 40 feet exactly. There's 4 feet overhang on each side. It's actually 46 and a half. I didn't know if I was going to build out to another cap barge, but I think we're just going to use full width flashing on it. So there's less maintenance up there. So 47 foot 9 is what it is, but in any case, we need 6 full rips to go the distance. I think I explained in the last video up top that I prefer to put the small rip at the bottom, so you're finishing with full sheets. So there's 3 spots we have to do that, which is the upper back, the front, and then the lower back. So I'll go around. I've got the table saw set up in there. I'm just going to make all my rips now so that it's ready to go when I get to each spot, and I'm only making one mess at the saw for now. So I'll go measure everything up and make sure I've got the correct dimensions, and we'll start cutting. All right, so that one is 29.4 and a half. It's under 16, so I can get 3 out of each sheet. All right, let's go get the back one. All right, that one is 62 and 5/8. All right, just totally wasted a trip. I could have gone down, run the crane out, and hook the plywood up so that as soon as I get this on, I could have brought it up without having to go down again, but I guess I'll go down again. All right, I'm gonna lose a layer and then go hook up a different air compressor. I need more air. Okay, we are gonna go down. I'm out of plywood, so I need 10 more sheets, 10 and a half to finish, and I have a half sheet right there. And I need, I think, 8 rolls of the peel and stick. I need the cap stapler. I need a impact with a 3/8 on it to pull these fall arrest. I'll just screw them on the other side for now. Whacker tacker staples. I think that's it, but I'm going to use the 10 sheets to stack the water and ice on, or the peel and stick. Anyway, it's not water and ice, it's something else. All right, I think the title of today's video is going to be filming with the camera off because I've been doing a lot of it. Toe board's off, roof swept off, first line snapped, first roll out, tacked down, and I'm ripping out the top of the zip strip as I go and then stapling it back down, and then I'll put the toe board back on halfway down or just under that, so I have something to stand on so I can pull the bottom one when I get to it. So all right, we got real close with that. The top course came out really clean, just under the top. I was hoping to have enough to lap it over, but it was probably easier to put on that was short. But I'm going to roll out, not peel and stick, just another synthetic over the ridge, just so that this backside stays dry. And I can peel that up later and use it somewhere else.